Hello, hi. My name is Rachel Saltmarshall, the general contractor and qualifying officer of Alderwin Rose Contractors, also Alderwin Rose Restoration and Construction. On August 11th, many in the state of Michigan experienced something that many of us have never experienced before. Sewer backups, flooding, and an elongated time frame in which to be serviced. We pay for insurance. We pay for our insurance to cover us in the instance of the what if. Well, on August 11th, the what if happened. And many of you are still waiting for the referrals that your insurance company referred you to. Many of them are backed up to the hilts. We have hundreds of thousands of residents that are still awaiting a representative to show up from the insurance company. The one thing that I can tell you is this: the longer the condition of your basement or your home remains in the condition that it's in, the worse it's going to get. So instead of just having a basement that flooded or had some water that entered into it, now you're probably by now experiencing mold growth. Many, if sewage came into the property, then of course you're experiencing a really, really funky smell throughout your home. And it's going to permeate throughout your home until it's rectified. Some have shown up to your homes, I know, from the insurance companies requesting fees up front. My advice to you, never pay a fee up front unless and you know in your heart of hearts that your insurance is actually going to cover, or for that matter, reimburse you for those fees that you paid up front for that work to be done. Unless and you know that you're not covered as far as for flood insurance or even for sewage backup insurance, or even some insurance policies have it worded as seepage, a seepage endorsement. So if you know that you're not covered for that, then again, even if they ask you as far as for the funds up front, you'd still want to handle it just as you would with having contractors come out to your home and bid on work that you need to have done. And so you may want to get 3 or 4 bids in order for you to make a decision, because now instead of the weight as far as of payment being on the insurance company, now it's on you. So if you can't afford a $10,000 bill for the sewage and water and the debris and so on and so forth to be pumped out of your basement, then I would suggest that, again, you get at least 3 bids. And many a times going with the lowest bid is not necessarily the best way to go. The lowest bid is the lowest bid for a reason, and sometimes the lowest bid may leave some things out. And you want to make sure that everything is going to be taken care of. It's definitely not a good idea to do it yourself. Even though we figure that we can go in the basement and we can rent a trash pump and we can pump this stuff out and we can bleach everything to the hilts and that everything is going to be all fine, many a times that's not the case. There's no guarantee, that what you did was the correct way as far as to do the job. It's always always advised to seek a professional, someone who is certified in restorative services. Me personally, I'm certified for mold remediation, water restoration, fire restoration, and I'm also RRP certified, renovate, repair, and paint, which is an EPA required certification. And actually, it's required of all contractors. It's a federal requirement whenever you're dealing with lead-based paint or areas that may contain lead-based paint. Know what your coverage is. This experience has even caused me to go back and look at my policy, because again, it's like hearing that, wait a minute, flood insurance is a totally separate policy, aside from your homeowner's policy. So just because you have a homeowner's insurance policy does not necessarily mean that you also have flood insurance, or even a flood rider written into that policy. So a good thing to do now, with everything that has occurred, is to again go back to your policy, and if you don't have it, add it. Contact your agent ASAP. I know my agent's number by heart. It's on speed dial in my phone. Normally, what we're supposed to do is contact the claims department immediately, when something like this happens. But you can also contact your insurance agent, even though I know, that they're overwhelmed as far as with all the phone calls and everything. But many a times, spur of the moment, it happens. You're not thinking to call the claims department. You're thinking to call your insurance agent. But the thing that you should do is call the claims department. Get your claim in, get your claim number, so that at least you're in line as far as to be serviced as soon as possible. Many people are still waiting. August 11th is almost 4 weeks away. So you still have people with couches and furniture and mud and, and now mold growth, in their basements. And they're still waiting for the insurance companies to send someone. And those 3 referrals, are backed up. They're overwhelmed. But just because the insurance company referred you as far as to those particular 3 restoration contractors does not mean that you can't go out on your own and locate your own restoration contractor. Because again, the safety and the security of your family comes first. So for you to remain in a property that has sopping wet furniture, carpet, walls, water, mold growth, mildew, bacteria continuously growing and flourishing in that basement that remains wet, you can't blame your insurance company for that one. Because even though they make the suggestion, it's still up to you, the homeowner, to take care of your family. Safety always comes first. Always comes first. So you have to do what you have to do to make sure and to guarantee that your family is safe. And if that means seeking another restoration company, you're in your right to do so. And please don't allow an insurance company to tell you otherwise, that you must use these 3 referrals. You don't have to. You really don't. Sometimes in this situation, with all of the thousands of people that are still waiting to be serviced by the insurance company, and even still, many are still not coming out. And so you're left, again, to take care of the situation and to, and if you had to move out, now, you may end up with another claim, because if you move out, then, someone could break into your home, and steal things. And so now that's another claim, and if they destroy things in the house, that's another claim. So you want to make sure that you take care of the situation as quickly as you can. Again, mold grows with continuous moisture, warmth. They love the darkness, and it just grows and it grows and it grows. So the faster you're able to get those wet items out and to clean that basement up and to dry that basement up, the least likely your chances are to have an extenuating process or anything that's exasperated over time, where now you're looking at, as far as, if your furnace, was sitting underwater. And if it was sitting underwater, that's just like a car that's been sitting underwater. If it's sitting underwater, it's totaled out. Furnace, washers, dryers, and so on and so forth, If it's been underwater, you can't guarantee that it's going to work at the same efficiency that it did prior to it flooding. So you definitely want to make sure that in your claim report, when you contact your insurance company, that they're made well aware of that. Take tons of pictures. All the pictures that you can possibly take without getting hurt, of course. I don't want you wading through, 3-4 foot deep water trying to snap pictures on the other side of the basement. Get as many pictures as you can, though. Even after the water subsides, if it does subside or if it doesn't subside, take as many pictures as you can. Your documentation is your proof as far as to what actually occurred, and the restoration services that are required being justified to be required because of the amount of rain, the amount of soot, the amount of sewage that may have backed up into your basement. Once again, we are a restoration company, Aldo and Rose Contractors, doing business as Aldo and Rose Restoration and Construction. We hold certifications in fire, water, mold, as well as RRP. Again, this is Rachel Saltmarshall, qualifying officer, owner of Aldo and Rose Contractors, and I hope that this video has helped you in some way as far as with starting your claim and going through the process and getting that situation taken care of. You have a wonderful day.